about we start out by entertaining questions? Yes, sir.
So if how do you keep it going to the level that you need it to be?
Crop after crop, you grow the turnip, and the turnip absorbs mineral nutrition from the soil and carries it away into your digestion, and so theoretically depleting the natural stock in the soil. Well, just like within the structure of nature, we replenish the mineral supply. The minerals are supplied by full spectrum, raw, crushed, igneous rock. At the best, it's magma. It's the big earth blender, and all of the 80 or 85 different standard earth elements are in that magma, and it's hot, and it's like big blender, always being mixed up. And those minerals are held, those elements are held in a wide array of different mineral compounds. And in actuality, the mineral compound that is the catalyst of every enzymatic activity within all life forms. And so we take rock, igneous rock that is cooled quickly, like cinder or ash or lava, and crush it up to a fine powder, and as fine as we can economically, and bring this back to the soil. Uninterrupted nature does the same thing. The rocks start large up in the mountains, and they erode and tumble into the creeks and rivers, and by the time they get to the ocean beach, the only thing that's left is the silica, or the hardest element. Everything else has been put into solution or suspension of the flood water. And right here we are sitting on a piece of ground that used to be the floodplain of Adobe Creek. General Vallejo came along and he channelized Adobe Creek so it would go straight down to the Petaluma River, they call it now, and go right by his little fortress over there. And no longer is the land benefited from the natural degradation and erosion and replenishment of mineral nutrition. So because of humanity's rejection of the blessings of nature, we have to actually have machinery and crush it up and apply this material. That's not the only blessing of the mountain river. Another one of them is the soil biology. And plants are not rock eaters. Plants are actually carnivorous. Plants make lots of sugars with sunlight energy and compounds that they gather from the atmosphere. And they use about a third of that sugar to run their own systems, their own life. And they use about a third of it approximately to act as seed dispersals, putting sweetness into their peaches and tomatoes, etc. And then they use approximately a third of it, pumping it out into the soil. This is food for the bacteria. Plants cultivate soil life nutritionally, just like we cultivate chickens. And plants are absorbing water from the soil all the time through their transmosis. And so there's a tide in the soil. And when the bacteria gets old, it loses its swim against the tide. It goes with the tide and up against the root hair, and there its bodily juices or protoplasm is disgorged and absorbed by the plant. This is how the plant gets minerals. While that bacteria is active and alive and going with it, why it eats, lives, and develops bodily wastes. It doesn't just piss those wastes away, it evacuates those wastes and stores them until it comes up against a raw rock mineral resource, and then that mild organic acid is exchanged for the minerals, and the rock is dissolved. You can go out into a healthy garden soil and pick up a rock, not one that's freshly crushed like this, but one that's been in contact with living soil for a prolonged period of time, and crack it in half, and you'll see the outer portion of the rock is soft, and the inner side part of the rock is very hard, non-dissolved, and all of the good minerals, compounds in their virgin complexity of high degree of diversity is translocated to the bacteria, into its metabolism, and subsequently into the plant, and subsequently to you. And by using that rock resource that nature provides, one of the parent foundation food groups of all life on planet Earth, is tremendous diversity and a life of choice for all of the plants. See, there's there's about 75 to 85 different elements in each rock sample. However, plants don't use elements, they use the mineral compounds, and there are thousands of mineral compounds in a volcanic rock that is cooled quickly, such as cinder or ash or lava. One that has cooled more slowly, such as basalt, still has high degree of diversity, but less. So there you have it, the introduction and the replenishment of mineral nutrition and the dissolving of mineral nutrition through enhanced, stimulated soil biology and actuated by the plant not only pumping sugars from its root systems, but giving to the carbonaceous structure of the soil for fixed energy foodstuffs to all of the soil life, all of their spent body parts, their leaves, their twigs, their roots, their whole life eventually. A very simple, natural process. All we really have to do is get out of the way. And we have a tendency not to get out of the way. Turning all of our creeks into drainage ditches is a terrible mistake, but that's our history, that's our training. And we've lived those lives. It's time to recognize and forge a slightly different path from my perspective. I have a question in the back there.